3rd, 2021 Town Board Meeting. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Just a few comments before we begin. Hope everyone's well. Hope everybody's healthy. This month, it has been a doozy. Let me start with the storm event we had on September 1st. Hurricane Ida brought about 10 inches of rain to Dutchess County. East Fishkill, we were hit very hard. The damaging rains, they took out one of our bridges located on East Hook Road, right by the town line with Putnam County. We did have an emergency call with the county executive at 2 a.m. that night. In order, the county executive wanted to issue a state of emergency, which the town of East Fishkill did join in on. The next day, we went out to survey the destruction. Myself, the town engineer, highway superintendent, our county executive came as well, and Senator Sue Serino. The governor's office, the new governor, I should say, office was responsive right away. We coordinated a meeting with the New York State Regional Director, Lance McMillan, with our staff to implement a plan for a temporary bridge to replace the bridge that was taken out. Our police department coordinated in the meantime with Dutchess County Emergency Response and Putnam County Emergency Response to make sure that the residents on the other side of this bridge were taken care of in case there was any emergencies in the meantime while we got this temporary bridge in place. I also coordinated with the Wappinger Central School District Superintendent, Dr. Dwight Bonk, to implement a plan for any children that lived on the other side who were affected with school transportation. And the school district made sure that they were provided for. So thank you to Dr. Bonk. New York State DOT, they acted very quickly to find us a temporary bridge. Actually, they had contractors up in Syracuse, which was called Slate Hill Constructors. Thank you to them. They mobilized very quickly to perform the work. They worked late hours. They worked 6 days a week. They knew that we needed to get this bridge in ASAP. Because our first and foremost concern, obviously, of course, is the safety of our residents, and we had to make sure that the bridge, the temporary bridge, was a safe structure. Our engineer reviewed as well, so it was a big to-do. Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney also did come to the site as soon as he could. He was a big advocate for us for FEMA. He had to make sure that Dutchess County was included in the disaster area determination, which I got notice today we were, so I'm very happy about that. FEMA did come down. I met with them several times at the bridge site here at Town Hall to discuss the amounts and other needed information that they needed. This was a very big group effort on many different government levels, and I am, as supervisor, I'm very grateful for Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney's office, Senator Sue Serino, her office. She assisted us with the DEC permitting that we needed to perform the work. The work was performed in the creek there. The county executive, he was very hands-on. He was on all the calls with New York State Department of Transportation, the governor's office. He actually hounded the governor's office a lot for me. Thank you, sir. Department of Transportation, Dutchess County Emergency Response, the New York State Regional Director, Lance McMillan, like I mentioned before, he was also instrumental in this whole process. He really pushed to make sure that contractors from a different region came down to his region. And of course, our town engineer working overtime, he was excellent with the different agencies, on-the-fly changes. I couldn't ask for anybody better. Our highway superintendent, Ken Williams, his highway department, tremendous amount of work they did. Not only the night of the storm, they were out there all night long, the days and weeks following the storm, helping residents, our fire department helping residents in areas like Lake City, getting them to and from their homes. It really was nice to see so many different people working together. I'm very, very thankful. And of course, thank you to the town board, always calling, seeing what else they can do to help and offer assistance to myself. So thank you. County executive, he has been continuing his weekly calls with the mayors and supervisors. The county executive gives us updates on COVID, and then, of course, the post-Hurricane Ida information. That was changing rapidly. We tried to get a lot of information about FEMA. He provided that for us, also with Dutchess County agencies that we needed to work with, gave us information about that. But especially now, recently, again, with school opening, COVID law changing, there's back-to-school vaccination and testing initiative, as everybody knows. The Dutchess County Department of Health has hosted 5 regional testing and vaccination sites throughout September for school personnel, fulfilling the state mandates that were recently passed. For teachers, administrators, and other school employees, they have to submit a weekly COVID testing, or unless they show proof of vaccination, of course. And the county is also planning to offer routine surveillance testing in every school in Dutchess County by October. They got a grant, a $5.6 million grant awarded by New York State Health Epidemiology and Laboratory for infectious disease programs. So they are implementing that, and also no testing to begin, a no-cost testing to begin in Poughkeepsie and Dover. That's Dutchess County Board of Health in partnership with a Pave lab. They will offer free COVID-19 testing to the public at 2 locations, Poughkeepsie Galleria, former J.C. Penney site, and the CVS Plaza in Dover. So thank you to County Executive and his staff for their assistance. Last month, we had a resolution to seek lead agency for a new project coming to East Fishkill, Frito-Lay. They're proposing to build a new distribution center at iPark on the east campus of the former IBM campuses. That houses Global Foundries and iPark. Tonight we had a joint public hearing with the planning board and had open public discussion about that. The town board, we closed our public hearing, which is in consideration of a special reuse permit, and the town and the planning board adjourned their public hearing, which they look for site plan, the company looks for site plan approval for the planning board to review. So this is the process. People came out to speak, which I'm very happy for. That's what the public hearing is for, to hear everybody's opinions and comments. Also, I attended a meeting last week with the Dutchess County IDA for the potential tax pilot for Frito-Lay. We did have a whole workshop at the beginning of the month, 2 weeks ago, here at Town Hall to discuss tax pilots and what they are, and kind of to debunk all the false information going out there about them. It was very successful. I had a lot of residents call me saying how they appreciate that we explained the process to them, and they understand why these programs, you know, we have these programs, Dutchess County implements these programs, a lot of counties do, to lure these companies here to make investments, to have jobs, for economic development. Everybody knows New York State isn't a very business-friendly place to open up business, unfortunately. But once the IDA sets their date for the public hearing, which I believe they did, we will post it on our website and our social media site so everybody could attend if they wish. Last week I did have some more meetings with the iPark. They are moving. They're moving and shaking over there. It's nice to see the town's economic development goals starting to come to fruition. They're looking at several other projects. They're looking at a national movie studio actually made application this past month to build 3 backlots filming studios and a 20,000 square foot indoor filming studio. Possibly a distillery and several other warehouse type businesses they're planning. So this model iPark has brought to the town, it's really nice. It's practical. It's a good business model. They have many different companies coming into the campus, and that's wonderful, because if one company comes and they leave because they relocate or they close their business, it doesn't affect the rest of the campus. IBM, when IBM was here, they were a one-stop shop. Everybody, I mean, not everybody, but I'm sure a lot of people remember IBM's heyday. They had 16,000 employees in town. Their business model changes. They started firing and laying off many people, thousands at a time. That was devastating for our town, devastating for our economy, devastating for our local businesses. So not only did you have these employees out of work, but you had that trickle-down effect where the public isn't spending money in our local businesses. That affects our local businesses. It affects our real estate market. It affects the taxes that come into the town for property taxes. So it's a compounded issue where iPark tries to insulate that and have multiple companies there, and the town board likes that model. We don't want to see our economic development decrease to the point where our local businesses are suffering. So my hat's off to iPark for all their success. On Friday, September 11th, we had a beautiful 9/11 ceremony here at the rec field right by the Davis House. Thank you to the Hudson Valley Council Band for their wonderful performance, American Legion, Manny Bacon Post for their help, and the Children of American Revolution, they were the sponsors of the event. It's important to have these ceremonies. It's been 20 years. Many people have forgotten what that day was like on 9/11/01. Actually, a whole new generation of people have been born and grown and did not live through it. And really, unless you live in the metro New York area or Connecticut, New Jersey, you don't understand the significance. A lot of people from different states are surprised at what a large ceremony we do and how many ceremonies we have throughout the Hudson Valley and the tri-state area. This type of disaster that we had on 9/11, it was profound effect on many people. It was something probably like Pearl Harbor or when President Kennedy was assassinated. These moments, they have to be honored, they can't be forgotten, and I'm very thankful for all the people that every year think about having these ceremonies and continue to have them, so thank you very much. This past Saturday, we had our 25th annual Community Day celebration. It was a huge success from the band they had, our parade, the vendors, magic show, fireworks. Fantastic day. Many people did help contribute to this huge success. Our town board, of course, and we had a Community Day committee. Gina Grippo, Christine Selbach, Bill Green, Maria Mahoney, Ann Goldsmith, Councilman Marinaro, and Deputy Supervisor Cassidy, and our rec director, Matt Solomon. Also, thank you to our rec and highway departments. They did a huge amount of work to get the event together. All our sponsors and, of course, the residents. It's so great to see you all out there enjoying our community. We have a lot to offer, and I'd like to thank past Councilwoman Ethel Walker and our Deputy Supervisor Peter Cassidy. They were the creators of Community Day 25 years ago. So we had a nice celebration for them. We had a nice proclamation for each of them to thank them for their vision, and our sincere appreciation to you, Deputy Supervisor, and Councilwoman Walker. Hopewell North Water District. We are still in the process of dealing with issues. I mention this usually during my every supervisor's comments. We're dealing with issues with the EPA, the Army Corps of Engineers, Conti Construction. They are the contractor on the job for the EPA. Like I've mentioned many times, it's difficult to deal with all these different agencies. We found so many things going on with this system. We found plugs in the line. There's many leaks already to the new system, and we're trying to bring conclusion to this. I've reached out to the Congressman Maloney's office, Senator Schumer's office. They are very interested. Once I gave them a detailed overview of the issues, they are very interested in what's happening here. To us, it just seems that the contractor has the upper hand. And that doesn't sit right with me. It's kind of mind-boggling, actually. The Congressman's office is very upset about it. Congress is oversight for the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers, so they are going to be getting involved. I don't want to see the contractor get away with what they have promised or what they should be doing to remedy the situation, and I'm going to make sure that we keep their feet to the fire. This project has already affected us in different issues like paving. We are slated this year to pave several roads, all in that Hopele North Water District, Creamery Road, Dogwood Road, all the roads. And we have to put that on hold because We don't know what the fix is. They perhaps have to cut up these roads to facilitate the proper repair, and they are fighting it. So we have to make sure that they pay to do the job correctly. They were hired to do a job correctly. The EPA paid for it. We should get a proper system in great working order. We shouldn't have all these leaks. We shouldn't have these plugs. We shouldn't have any of it. So it's a volatile situation. I will keep the community updated as we move forward with that. This week we had a meeting up in Poughkeepsie, myself, our town engineers, Scott Bryant, George Cronk, our town attorney, with the Dutchess County Board of Health. We have many, many projects going on, many water projects going on, as everybody knows. They said that East Fishkill is probably the busiest town in all of Dutchess County. So sometimes we like to meet with them face to face, so we understand, they understand the issues that we're going through, how we can work together better. So I appreciate the meeting, and thanks to our professionals for that meeting. This past Tuesday night, we had an Economic Development Committee meeting here at Town Hall. As everybody remembers, I started this Economic Development Committee. Town Board approved when I first became supervisor. And we haven't got together since pre-COVID, actually. So it was good to get the committee back together, give an update on what's going on in town, and possibly, and we discussed possibly when we're going to have our next business community meeting. Probably right after the new year, we'll reissue our, what do we call them, the business forums for our local businesses to come here. We invite all the local businesses. We had several of these forums before. It's nice. They come, tell us what's on their mind, see how we can help them. Also, a lot of these businesses are not residents, so they don't get the information. They don't see Channel 22. They don't see what's going on. They don't know if we're doing a project that could affect a road that their business is on. So we like to keep a lot of information flowing to the businesses. And I'd like to thank our Economic Development Committee and Town Board, of course. Like I always say, we'll be discussing, soon we'll be making a change to the Economic Development Director, hopefully next month. So I'll keep everybody posted on that. And finally, I like to mention, like I do many times, pretty much every meeting, please don't rely on social media for your information. There's a lot of false information that goes out there. I don't know what people's thoughts are on why they want to give false information. Maybe they want people to be fearing something. I don't know. But we're here to give you the correct information. Like I say, please call my office. Call anybody on the town board. We work for you. We're here to tell you what's going on, give you the correct information. If we don't have the information, we'll find it and call you and get it to you. So please, please, do not use social media. I don't know why certain people do what they do. They kind of need mental help, but that's another issue. So with that, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Cassidy.
Here.
Councilman Franco.
Present.
Councilman Marinaro.
Present.
Councilman Beaman.
Present.
Supervisor Del Sandro.
Present, thank you. Public hearing, we're going to adjourn this public hearing till October 28th. It's for the construction, to consider a local law that will restrict construction in floodplains. Had a lot of issues with homes built in floodplains, especially lately with the floods that we've had. We had to take a hard look at some of that. So we will adjourn that till the 28th. And that's at 7 p.m. Everybody received the August 26, 2021 minutes? Deputy Clerk, were there any changes, alterations?
No, there isn't.
No? Do I have a motion to approve the August 26, 2021 minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved, thank you. We do have several additions to the agenda, which I will read. One resolution is to change the name of Auditorium Drive. The county needed to have that right away, so we have to do a resolution. We'll go into full detail when we read these resolutions. Second resolution, authorize a hearing for an unsafe structure at 16 Fishkill Hook Road. Third is receipt and file of the budget. I am presenting the town board with my tentative budget tonight. Amendment dates for the town board meetings. We're going to finalize the rest of the year with our town board meeting dates. Another one to hire a floater, and we have a WIA grant application for Hopewell West Water District. We're happy to have that, so we will discuss all those when the resolutions come up. So with that, courtesy of the floor, anybody wish to speak on any general town issues, any resolutions, anything you like? How are you, sir?
I'm fine today. How are you doing?
Good,
Do I need
thanks.
to sign in here?
Yes, please.
This is new to me. Well, first, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Ralph Castaldi. I live at 29 Tina Lane in Hopewell Junction. I'm a veteran.
Thank you,
I live
sir.
here for over 35 years. And this is more of a request than anything else. After speaking to quite a few of my neighbors and friends, we've all come to basically the same conclusion. We want an audit.
I'm sorry?
We would like an audit of all the monies that come into our town from the federal government, state government, businesses, homeowners, etc., investments, whatever they may be. Then we would like to know exactly where these monies are going and how much is going to each thing. More like a line budget.
Well, we have that all in our budget.
Fine. So we need to know this, exactly where the money's going, and how much is going where. And like I said, I'm not new to this, and maybe I don't have the proper information, but maybe you can get it to us. But the public needs to know exactly where our money's going. We have 100% assessment now on homes. That means our taxes went up quite a bit. Even though the ratio stood good, the money from last year to this year rose. You didn't drop the ratio to go back to last year's money. So everything went up. You follow what I'm saying?
No, sir, when the
Okay, I'll follow it.
assessments-
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If you were paying 10% last year per thousand, I say $10 a thousand, it's $10 a thousand this year. Well, 100% assessment goes up, your value of your house goes
No,
up
sir.
$20,000?
No, sir, 100% assessment means that we have full value of your homes.
I know
That's
what that
been
is.
for
I know
how
it's-
many years?
It's been like at least 10.
At least 10 years. And the reason why you have 100% valuation is all the surrounding,
I understand why.
Okay.
I'm not arguing the 100%. I'm not arguing that.
So-
But our taxes did go up, cash-wise.
Your taxes went up over the past year because of the school district. That was the main
Regardless of what, our taxes went up. Can we come to a general conclusion, our taxes went up?
no,
Okay.
no, no,
reason.
no.
It has nothing to do with
The
the
only-
100% valuation.
All right, fine, it doesn't,
The
let's,
the tax assessments and the tax rates
okay.
are go together, meaning if your assessment of your home went up 10% this year,
Go ahead.
we didn't do our budget yet, so you don't know what the tax rate is. The dollars that we levy, the amount of money we take from the public, there's a tax rate established. That tax rate will go down by 10%. Assessment goes up 10%, tax rate goes down 10%. The only time it goes higher is if we have a tax increase, the school district has a tax increase, or the county has a tax increase.
Granted, I'll grant you all that. Taxes went up. I paid more tax in '21 than I did in '20. Correct? That's where I'm at. That's what I'm trying to say. Plain and simple. All right? I shoot from the hip, not all the fancy stuff. Our taxes went up. We have more homes in East Fishkill now than we ever had before. And you know what? They're very high-priced homes. Right or wrong? Okay?
Okay.
All these developments went in. The developers put all the roads in, correct?
Okay?
We have to maintain those roads. But there's no real maintenance on those roads for at least 8 years. That's low,
We
okay?
have over $1 million snow budget.
Oh, no, I know we have all that, you have to do all that.
That's maintenance.
I agree with that, but we're paying more money, but you have a lot more homes. We don't have any more schools. When's the last new school built here? Tell me.
We're not the school
No,
board.
no, I know that, but I'm just, you know that, but you're still planning, you have planning development, you're all part of this, you're all connected. I'm talking to you, you're my representative.
Yes, but we don't have any jurisdiction
I know
about
that, but I'm just
school.
talking to you in
I don't
general.
know what the school board does. I don't care what they do. It's none of my business what
Do
they do.
we know if the school district wants a new school? I mean, their
Bottom
enrollment
line is, I'm saying the school taxes go up, okay? We should have an input as to where our money's going.
Yes,
Yes.
So I want to know where all my money's going. Did the federal government give the school millions of dollars this year?
We don't deal with the
I
school.
know you don't know that.
We don't know.
That's why your
But
taxes
don't you think
went
we
up,
should
sir. A lot
find
of it
out?
has to do with the school.
I'm asking you, how do we go about finding out?
Go to a school board meeting.
So every,
You have to go to a school board meeting
Yes,
to
every-
find out their budget.
every taxing jurisdiction, school, which is 75% of your taxes, town and county, you pay 3 taxes, okay? Plus, if you're in a special district, you pay as well. But those are the 3 main ones. Every single one of them has to have a public meeting every year to set their budget and show you where their money goes.
Right.
And why they're increasing or why they're not decreasing, then that's where you ask those questions. Well, how come you're not decreasing it? How come it's increasing so much? Where did all this money go for that? They have to provide that information to you.
Okay, I
Just
agree.
like we do.
That's fine.
We have these
I did not
hearings.
realize, I thought, maybe, I'm saying, I'm new to this. I thought that maybe you all get together and discuss these things.
No,
You don't connect with one another. So everybody's a separate entity here. Okay, that's good to know.
Fire and library.
Including
fire
fire and
and
library
library.
too.
And we don't have any control over the
Have
fire.
no control over any of that stuff.
No control of any of the others.
Just to put it in perspective, sir, our budget is what, about 25?
20 million.
20 million.
Without
20
special
million.
districts.
The schools is $250 million.
I'm
That's-
seeing,
it's
I'm
crazy.
seeing, yes, I know
We
what
would
you're
love
saying.
to see that get reined
$5
in.
million last year for the schools.
$250 million.
Well, first of all, I have to
You
say.
said you lived on Tina Lane?
Yeah.
We did pave Lake Walton
Oh,
within
no,
the
no,
last
no, no.
4
Let me
years,
tell you something.
Brown
I'm here to
Road,
praise you.
extensive,
I think the
extensive
roads-
monies.
I think
No,
that-
he
I-
wants
I
information,
really-
like, where does he
I
go to
really
find
like
out?
where I
Yeah, I
live.
understand
Don't get
them.
me
Yeah, I
wrong here.
understand
So
what
I'm
you're
not-
saying.
I'm not trying to deter from anybody here.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out, with all this money that comes in from the federal government, from the state government, for what's levied on our homes, all right? I'd like to know where it's going.
So I'll just give you a quick example for us, the town, what we deal with. We have about a $20 million budget. I'm just giving a quick synopsis. And just to let you know, in 2 weeks is our workshop where the town board will discuss the budget. And then the first Thursday in November will be our budget public hearing. All the public can come, ask all the questions they want, why, and we have to provide the answers. But just a short synopsis, we have a $20 million budget. About 11 million of that is our levy, meaning that's what we get for taxes from the people. The rest we get from other sources of revenue, mortgage tax, sales tax, those
follow
sort of
you.
things.
I follow you. I follow
Okay,
you. I
so
follow you.
so what we get from the people is about 11 million out of the 20.
So, I'm trying hard to figure out something here. The school board,
Yes.
okay. If we don't like what the school board is doing,
Right.
how do we go about changing it, other than voting? Can we recall them?
No.
No,
Ma'am,
the
don't
have
school
recall
board
in
can't
New
get
York.
recalled.
The
right?
election's in May to choose them, so every May
Every May.
there's 3 trustees available. Plus, every May, the voters of the school district vote yes or no on the budget.
That I know. All right, so that's the only way you could hold somebody's feet to the fire, threaten them not to
They
be.
have an audit. We get an audit every year.
We do audit every year.
I'm sure everybody gets audited. Once
Yes.
everybody-
We do
usually
audit
do
every
an
year.
audit.
Available to the public?
Yeah, so we do get audited every year. It's available for you in the clerk's office or on our website. We also post the budget online, or it's available at the website. And in the budget that's being proposed, it's, just beginning to be discussed, we're looking at a 1% increase on the typical homeowners from 2021 to 2022.
Like I said, I think you guys are doing a great job. I really do. I'm praising you, actually. I just need to know where my money's going. Yes, it's just so much of it.
That's fair.
I just sent you the link to
I-
the school board budget to your messenger, because I think we've communicated before. So I sent you over the information just now.
Okay. I could appreciate that. All right, thank you very much for your time and patience. I'm learning. I will be back.
Thank you, sir. Anytime. That's what we're here for.
I live right next to you, sir. I'm on Elizabeth Drive, so feel free to come on over. We can talk. Not a problem.
I'm the one with the Trump flag, so
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Steve Caswell, your county legislator from East Fishkill, and I just want to provide one quick update on a county program. This is the Learn, Play, and Create grant program that the county executive announced in June and the legislature approved also in June. It's $3 million to go to arts, libraries, and athletics to support our youth, trying to invest in the youth for our future. To date, the county has given out 93 different grants for a total of $2.1 million. And here in East Fishkill, we've gotten 6 grants totaling $139,000. So I just wanted to let you know what we're bringing back here to the town. So those 6 grants, real quick, $50,000, the first one, went to the East Fishkill Library District. Okay, and that was used to help expand the children's section with some new equipment. So a great addition to our library. Next, we had $13,000 go to the Greystone programs. They have a Club Cool, so they're providing therapeutic learning for our youth with disabilities. $16,000 went to the Dutchess County Pride Center. They have a creative writing club, so that was used for purchasing supplies. The John Jay Hockey Club received $20,000 to help with their costs of renting ice and uniforms and other equipment and things. $20,000 went to JBOT's 16700 Robotics Team Booster Club. I guess this is the Dutchess County's first robotics STEM workshop series. So they're going to host free or reduced cost STEM pop-up events over the next 12 months. So this funding allows them to do it free or reduced cost. So, and then the last one was $20,000 went to our White Pond Community and Cultural Arts Association. So they're going to purchase materials to build accessible ramps on the outside of their building. So I'm proud to be among the legislators that supported this vital initiative. It's an ongoing process. So if there's anybody out there, a part of an organization involved with youth, there's still about $900,000 left. It's an ongoing process, so the applications keep coming in, and as long as they meet the criteria, they get approved on an ongoing basis. So like I said, we've got 93 total so far. So if anyone thinks their group might qualify for something, reach out to the county executive's office, or you could even reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the right place. There's a very short one-page application. So if there's other groups here in East Fishkill that might be in a position to apply for and get the money, it'd be great. I'd love to help facilitate that. So it's a quick update. Thank you.
Thank you, legislator. Anybody else in the public wish to speak on any general town issues, anything on the agenda?
Yes, I just want to talk about one thing really quickly, is the EPA Water District for Hopele North. I noticed that you said you were going to be keeping Conti to clear stuff up, and I was wondering if you would consider also going to some of the houses to seeing what some of the issues are. Now, myself, we felt that some of the work they did in our home was subpar. They had made a mistake with the concrete. They were supposed to fill the old well because my home is so old. I've actually been around longer than the town attorney. My home was on a point.
Cold.
It's true. So we actually paid out of our own pocket because we felt that Conti was not doing due diligence, and we were concerned. We were also concerned about the electrical because eventually, I believe someone in the town did come in and do a 5-minute inspection. We actually paid and had an electrician come in and check it out because we had strong concerns over the work. We have a contractor coming in to fix some of the concrete that they messed up, and we also have a landscaper coming in to fill up the hole, to redo the hole because it's actually caving in. So I was thinking it would be nice if you could perhaps reach out to some of the families that don't necessarily have the resources, or some of the new families that have moved in that we've had to educate as to what the situation is. And my second thing is, I know it's beating a dead horse with the whole Frito-Lay thing is,
If the what, I didn't
the
hear.
whole Frito-Lay thing. I would like you, I understand you want to develop the town. And actually, I don't totally oppose Frito-Lay. I oppose an 80-foot building because no tree is going to cover it up. I'm asking you, though, as elected officials, to put aside your political hopes and dreams long enough to take a good, long, hard look and maybe go back to Frito-Lay and get something for us in the town. A lower building, involvement in the community. Get them to be a part of us, not just, you know, like you got a gym out on Hyde Park that's really involved with the community. You've got Jane Bakes who's involved with the
Do you
community.
know about PepsiCo at all?
I've done a little bit of personal research and not off of Facebook. I made the effort to call someone who worked for PepsiCo in Newburgh before they closed down their Newburgh facility and left that abandoned as a mess. So I made a few phone calls. I spoke to somebody, a relative out near the Chicago area who's been involved in food and agricultural development. And I also spoke to somebody who's involved with a large business that does run a warehouse. So I did make some phone calls, and I did do some research, and I went on the PepsiCo website, and I read what they wrote. And you have dealt with me long enough to know I don't necessarily get everything off of Facebook. I do make an effort to read extensively.
Thank God.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, you know, all I'm saying is go back if you want them and get a concession. Get a lower building. No 80-foot tree. No tree is going to cover 80 feet. Go back and get them involved because you've brought some great people in. You brought in the gym, which is a strong member of the community at this point. Jane Bakes has reached out even to a couple of different groups. You've got other businesses, maybe not at Hyde Park, that are strong in the community. So I'm just saying, put aside where you want to be politically long enough to think about the community. Because you may be gone in 10 years, but I really, really hope that my grandchildren will be able to love East Fishkill as they grew older and have some of the good experiences I've had and become members of the community. But they're not going to be if something isn't given back to them. I think the grants are wonderful. I think they're great. I wish that our library could afford to expand and build a maker room because they do all these wonderful STEM and STEAM kits and craft kits. They don't have the space, I get it. But what they're doing is wonderful. But let's build on that. Let's not just, here, go build an 80-foot building that's an eyesore. Let's try to think a little bit more because, you know, John Jay brings a lot of people in for sports activities. They run a big cheerleading thing. Let's make it a nice view for all the people who are coming up. They draw people from Westchester and Rockland County. Let's make it nice. They're a part of our community. With that said, I apologize for leaving so early, but just want my thoughts considered. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, folks. My name's Eric Eckley. I'm an East Fishkill town resident. I do want to thank you all for all the hard work you put in, you know, helping to, you know, fix up the town after the storm. It was a rough storm, and I had my own little issues, but you know, I know you guys put in a lot of time and effort, and I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And to Mr. Caswell, I think he mentioned $3 million for a youth arts program, something close to that, which is great. He neglected to mention that they also approved $12.5 million to renovate the Duchess Stadium with COVID relief money, which could have probably been better spent lowering people's taxes or providing, you know, some other services to the community that was affected by the pandemic, as opposed to fixing up the stadium for the Yankees and, you know, producing luxury boxes
Well,
in the
that's the
clubhouse.
county, we're
Yeah,
in the
so-
town.
Well, I mean, that's his contribution is $12.5 million of COVID relief given to a ballpark and to the richest sports team in the world.
Okay.
So just a couple things. I was talking to some neighbors recently, some people on Kane Drive that I know. They have really bad internet access. I know this is an ongoing problem with the town, and there's a contract involved. But I wondered what you guys are doing, if anything, about helping people resolve these problems where they're paying quite high internet costs, and they have to work. They're working from home in many cases, and still some kids are even maybe on online school. And this couple I was talking to, they both work from home, and their internet is terrible, and they're paying a lot of money for bad service. And what can we do? Because I think you or somebody before you agreed to whatever system we're working within, and what can we do to help them?
What happens is that all those questions that you just answered or asked for, the answers are that we are not the oversight for that. That is called the state government. So the only thing that we can do is try to offer more companies to come here, which we have. I've issued press releases. I've sent to every company that would offer internet and new cable, because we think that it's not fair that residents should have only one choice in most of the town and only two choices in other small part of the town. But besides that, this Board of Governors here does not oversee anything like that. I think you're thinking that we're like, I don't know.
No, I mean, I realize there's existing
You mentioned
interest.
Can I just say, you mentioned a contract, I'm sure you're mentioning, like, you're referring to the franchise agreement. In East Fishkill, we have an open franchise agreement, so any provider at any time can come in. It's not exclusive to simply Altice Cablevision. So that's why the supervisor has sent out letters to Verizon and any other provider, please come, take advantage of that franchise agreement and be a part of our town.
The Public Service Commission oversees all the rates.
Right.
And whenever there's a rate increase, they have to get approval by the Public Service Commission of New York.
So what is it with the existing infrastructure that eliminates
So
any
a
other companies from
company-
coming
so
in?
Optimum has spent the money to spend for the infrastructure on the actual infrastructure. Other companies would have to come in and do the same. They are not willing to do that. The only thing the town facilitates is we allow them to work in our town right away, which that's why we have an open agreement like the councilman said. Any company come in here, we'll allow them to work in the town right away if they're willing to offer more service for the residents.
And unfortunately, we can't offer any sort of incentive to draw other companies, because then we can be sued by Cablevision. I don't know if the attorney could expand on that, for essentially incentives. They have to be offered the exact same thing in past tense that we would then offer in future tense to any other agency. So it's very hard to attract companies to want to invest in infrastructure
And
in town.
5G is coming, and that's the reasons why they say to us that they don't want to. They're like, well, we're gonna wait for 5G because I assume it's a lot cheaper for these companies
Well,
than to run the actual copper or.
Well, they won't have to pay a franchise agreement with 5G, because they were gonna remain on the poles itself, so they won't be connecting to the house. All they would have to do is pay a rental fee, or whatever the nominal amount is to the, who owns it currently? Is it Frontier that owns the poles?
Yeah.
They would just have to pay a fee to Frontier to use
Frontier
the poles.
Communication owns the
Right.
actual poles, and they lease to, say, Optimum or somebody else.
We're not in the first round of 5G for Verizon, but we're very close to the second and third round, because we're in the New York City suburb area.
This brings up other issues too. If this 5G comes, the town roughly gets 500,000 or 600,000 in franchise fees a year.
Yeah, 500,000.
500,000. You're going to see in every community those dollars just disappear. So what happens then with that burden? Obviously, we have those dollars coming in, offsetting taxpayer increases. So this is something we all have to think about and put into consideration very seriously.
I appreciate all that information. I mean, with the franchise agreement, isn't there part of the agreement that they have to provide quality service to the residents that sign up for it?
Well, I don't know if
I
that
mean,
is in there.
aren't they
but
violating that
I
by
did-
not doing that?
I did send a letter to Public Service Commission about the service for Optimum. I did.
Okay.
I filed a complaint with the federal government, as well as the chief of staff for the FCC, the president's office, and other congressional offices, and I have received responses on all of them. Unfortunately, legislation has changed over the years, and I'm sure the attorney could expand on that as well. It's not as restrictive, it's very hard to go after them, and at the end of the day, they're the only game in town, and they know that, so.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, we were getting screwed at the end of the day, and it is unfortunate.
Additional to that, about a month and a half ago, we had discussed with the town lawyer to see if we could create a municipality kind of system to compete with the big cable company out there. It has happened in another state, but we're still looking into that. We try to really push for them to better service our community. We're all paying these high bills. We have addressed this a few months ago. I think we brought them in here.
Right, I remember that meeting, I saw
Right.
that.
And they know, but at the same time, we have nobody to compete against them. That is the main issue.
Okay.
There are a couple other options if they have really poor service in that area. One, of course, we can demand that Optimum fixes it. But two, there's something called a Cradle Point through Verizon, and they could actually run their home internet off of a 4G service for a pretty nominal fee as well.
I think they're gonna do that, the couple I was talking to, but that's an additional expense that they're gonna have to.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. I mean, that's something that I'm probably gonna have to do as well, because my internet cuts out just as badly.
I had one other question. Thank you all for the comments. That was helpful. So I recently found out that Phillips Road was closed. I tried to drive to a friend's house over at Four Corners, and all of a sudden I turned down, and I thought maybe it had something to do with storm damage. And I asked a couple of people, why is Phillips Road closed? And basically they told me it was turned into a private road for some residents there who didn't like the through traffic going through. So now everybody has to go, all the traffic, all the buses, all the delivery trucks, all the people have to take Noah Way, a tiny little street. And so why was that turned into a private road?
So, this has been an ongoing issue. Dutchess County, owns Beekman Road, where Phillips Road exits. And there is a lot of accidents. There's a lot of, over the years, been a lot of trouble there at that intersection. As you probably know, I don't know where you live, but.
I know exactly that spot.
So Dutchess County has been facilitating a lot of traffic improvements on Beekman Road. They redid the bridge, they're redoing the road. And at that point, they came to us and said, we're going to close the entrance of Phillips Road from Beekman Road, which they have all rights to do because they own Beekman Road. Now, for me, I said, well, we can't do that. I got homeowners that live very close to the exit of that Phillips Road onto Beekman Road.
Hundreds of people.
No. There's
okay,
three
all right.
homes right at
Right.
the end.
Okay.
Where they would close it. The other people have other access. Those three homes had to go all the way through. So at that point, they says, well, what other traffic improvements can we do? We looked at that. That's when they worked with my engineers, the county DPW, and we came up with a plan where they would cul-de-sac it right past those three homes, and then on the other side, utilize Noah Way. Now, when Four Corners was developed, I don't know how long you've lived here.
28
in the
years.
secret review, that then it said that Phillips Road was not to be utilized. It was to be Noah Way only. So there was a big to-do then, and that never got formulated, but in the secret review, that's what is stipulated the original plan to be, the plan moving forward.
That's why Noah Way was created, because of the environmental review for Four Corners. And that's what the county hung their hat on this round, where they wanted to close that, because the secret approval required that road to be diverted onto Noah Way.
I mean, that may be
There's a traffic light,
historically
on
accurate.
Noah Way.
but
There's a traffic light on Noah Way at Beekman Road, which is
Right.
much safer than no traffic light. Beekman Road is a very busy road.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've used Phillips Road many times. I don't go down there very much, but it was a reasonably wide road. It wasn't that dangerous. I mean, I live on Miller Hill Road. It's much more dangerous.
Phillips Road compared to Noah Way, there's no difference. Noah Way is such a bigger, better road.
But now all the
Wider.
traffic has to go on one road past all the same people that live there to get
Which is safer.
hundreds of people
But
through to
which
that.
is safer, there's a traffic light there.
Like, I've been to a number
Safety
of those
first, right?
accidents.
Safety first. Well, I mean, but it still seems like a bad, so you can fix problems with a bad solution too.
I couldn't
Way
have
was-
them close the road. I couldn't have the county just close the entrance there. I had to capitulate something.
And Noah Way was designed that there are no houses that directly pass. There was one house that was built at the end, but where it goes past the Four Corners subdivision, it's bermed and treed, and that's how it was developed in accordance plans of 20-some-odd years ago when Four Corners was developed. And the town board also is implementing, on the other end of Phillips Road, moving that very bad turn on the curve, and that project's underway, and that will move the Phillips Road onto 216 down, so there'll be better sight distance and make that safe.
You know, on the other end where it meets 216 on that horrible curve?
Yeah, kinda, I mean.
Yeah, so that's a very bad, not intersection, but very bad turnoff on and to off that road.
Any accidents
A lot of accidents, people speed very heavily on that road. You got the people going to the prison and everything else, so with that,
And there was money from
Right,
the Four Corners
so-
development put aside for that.
so we said now's the time for us to do that. So we utilize the dollars from that and to extend the entrance down 216 so it's safer. This is all safety concerns.
Yeah, and I'd like to add also, Mr. Supervisor, there's a non-conforming vertical curve on the old section of Phillips Road. Everybody knows where there's like that blind spot where you come over that.
Oh, by
first.
the farm, yeah, there was a big hump. You couldn't see above that, past that hump. It was a dangerous spot too of that road.
And talking about safety, right now, there is another issue on Beekman Road in Augusta Drive.
Oh, that's a
I
bad one.
reached out to
That's a
the
bad one, too.
county executive to see what we could do to address that. There has been numerous accidents over there. The community has reached out to us to see what we could do. And so right now, we're working with the Dutchess County to see if we could address that issue. So we usually respond whenever there is an emergency situation that could save lives. And unfortunately, driving another couple hundred feet down to a light to make the proper turn and drive in a normal manner, I think it's a great
But
concern to the
you
community.
could have fixed the intersection that was the problem instead of just
parkway
cutting
was-
off the road.
parkway was too
No,
close in that area.
I think I told you,
Many
they were gonna
studies.
close the road.
That was a county's
They were
decision
gonna
to
close the road.
Not our decision.
Many fatalities in that area.
No, I mean, I mean, that road, Beekman Road's, it's very dangerous. All right. I mean, you have a lot of good answers. I know a lot of people are really disappointed about that, and they feel like.
So was I live on that side of town.
They were left out of the whole process, and now, it's just, it seems much
Oh,
more
we had a
difficult
hearing here.
to get around.
We had a public hearing.
Thank you.
Please sign in, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
What number you want me to put it on? Good evening, all. Hope everybody is healthy and happy. I would like to dovetail on something, Mr. Supervisor, you had said earlier on in your announcements, and that being the participation on social media, and in particular, Facebook. I have heard that there was a very heinous accusation regarding Councilman Marinaro, and the accusation by, I don't know the people, that he or somebody on his behalf was removing a candidate's sign and replacing with Councilman Marinaro's. And I've known Councilman Marinaro for many years. He wouldn't stoop to that level. And that type of unnecessary accusation on Facebook is, as I said, it's heinous. If he weren't a public figure, it would be a defamation. And so I just would like to bring to the public's attention to not bother reading that nonsense. And that's it. And thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on any general town issues, on anything on the agenda? Hi, could you please sign in?
Sure. My name is Tamika Santiago. I'm a resident here in East Fishkill. I'd actually like to address the comment that you just made. I actually put a letter out to East Fishkill, not making accusations, but stating a fact of what happened, which was that my signs were taken. And that's something that's unfortunate, and I did state in my letter that I didn't know who took the signs, because I don't know, but I also stated another fact, that the signs were replaced with signs from Councilman Mariano. So again, a fact, my signs were there, they were removed, and they were replaced, but I did not point a finger and say that anybody did it specifically, because I didn't say who did it. I was simply stating a fact. So that was that. But what I was here today to ask about was, I noticed that there is construction and the site over by the library, the fields closest to it.
The library right here?
Yes.
Yes.
And I was just wondering what exactly is going in. I was told that it's batting cages. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
So, one of our, I'm sorry, baseball teams, or was it the club?
The club.
The club, the baseball club, they came to the Recreation Advisory Board.
Yep.
And they asked that they wanted to do a baseball batting cage, and that they would pay for that through the club, and the town, if the town would assist with the highway department to help do some of the construction, which of course we did.
Okay.
It's been taking a while because of
It's been taking a
Hurricane
while.
Ida.
Yeah.
So we were taken away from that project for a while, and we're getting close to wrapping that up now.
Okay, and I do think batting cages are fun. They're great for the community. We do have someone 52 already, so I'm not sure why they're going in again.
It's for the East Fishkill Baseball League.
Okay, but
So
that's,
they don't have to go from field to field to drive down, so the kids can warm up, practice,
and what
and enjoy
budget?
the whole park.
Yeah, what budget is that coming out of?
They,
Their private money.
the club did their own,
Essentially, it's a donation to the town.
Over the years, we've been able to work a relationship with the teams and the town, where if the teams want to enhance the field rather than going to the taxpayers, they will donate some money and the town will donate some of the work, or vice versa.
so say they like to,
Working
a
relationship.
lot of times every year, they like to repair some of the fields with, I'm not too knowledgeable, clay, and it's expensive, we don't have it in our budget, but they pay for it through their organization, and when we do maintenance on the field, we install it.
So they're covering the entire thing, because that's a big project. I noticed trucks from outside of the highway, our highway department is there. It's
Like
a
I
lot of
said,
funding.
they paid for the materials, we did the construction.
Highway
Okay,
and Recreation are one department.
you said they are?
We're one department. we're
Yes.
one.
And,
Rec-
but none of the money is coming from highway and recreation? Okay.
No, not for the materials, we're doing the construction part.
Okay, so why is that being prioritized over, say, like the road paving and
That's
the
not.
drainage
We've
system?
paved 13 roads this year so far, 13. And
You
we're
said
gonna-
you've
we're
done
gonna do 3
13?
more. 13 roads have been paved already this year so far.
Okay, and then the drainage systems?
We work on the drainage all the time.
The
They go hand
drainage,
in hand.
drainage has to be done before they pave.
Okay,
So that sometimes is done the year before. It's like putting the Christmas tree up, you gotta put the lights on before the ornaments.
no, definitely understand that, I know how it works, but I'm just asking. Thank you for your information.
Thank you. Any comments on general town issues or any resolutions? Last chance. No? Okay. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Let me sign in here.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Evening.
In regards to the remark about the Facebook, posting something on Facebook, I've been accused of a lot of things in my life that I have not done, so this is a little pet peeve for me. I'm just wondering if the sign issue was reported to the police or the proper authority. Is there anybody that oversees these signs,
Well, stealing signs is a federal law, so if that's the case,
Yeah.
then you gotta report it to the police. Stealing political signs is against federal law.
I'm just wondering if that issue was reported to the police. Does anybody know if that sign issue was reported to the police? Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Okay.
Trail cameras.
All righty. And,
Trail cameras work great. I had a similar issue years ago when I first was running. Trail
I've had
cameras
over
work
like
great.
60, 70 signs stolen like each year.
I've had like 200.
yeah, I was just...
Not cheap either.
I was just curious why things go on Facebook when maybe it should have went to the right authority. I was just trying to get an answer to that. The other thing that I want to say is, I've been coming to meetings for a lot of years,
You have?
and probably had my little arguments with everybody up here and then some, but I got to tell you, in my opinion, I'm not one to blow smoke, I think everybody knows that. Anybody that knows me knows that. But I think this is the best town board that I've seen in a lot of years. I think everybody up here, well, I know everybody up here works very hard, and I'm saying this for the public. I want to endorse everybody that's running for re-election. I want to thank Steve Caswell for his work as county legislator. And I don't see any reason that everybody up here shouldn't be re-elected. And that's about all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on any general town issues? Last chance. We have resolutions to get to. Okay, very good. Anyone? No? Okay. All right. Oh, we have a receipt and file.
We do.
I did do a declaration of a state of emergency for the storm on September 1st. Receipt and file this with the town clerk's office. Mainly, just in case we need that for FEMA, I'd like to make sure that we have everything in order so we could not pay anything for that storm damage. Okay, resolutions. Deputy Supervisor, number 1.
Accepting grants from Dutchess County, whereas the town has been notified that the Pocket Parks Grant and Emergency Generator for Heating and Cooling Center have both been awarded, and whereas it is appropriate for the town board to accept these grants in the best interest of the people. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to accept grants from Dutchess County with respect to the Pocket Parks Grant, $76,800, and the Emergency Generator of $50,000. Be it further resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to execute the documents.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. Do I have a motion to accept the grants from Dutchess County?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. There's 2 letters from the county executive indicating that we received the 2 grants. I'd like to thank County Legislator Steve Caswell, County Legislator John Metzger. Whenever we make applications for the county, we do lean, I should say, on our county legislators to try to help us get approval. And they were very successful, so thank you very much.
Would this generator be for the, this town hall?
Yeah,
building?
so that generator is for this town
I thought we were
hall.
gonna need it tonight, yeah.
And, you know, the thought process is that, God forbid, there's an event where the town's out of power and it's winter time or summertime, it's hot or cold, and some people don't have heating or cooling. We'll open up the town hall, let the people come in here, charge their phones, do, you know, and actions like that. So we would be a heating and cooling center.
Very nice.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 2, we are going to table, she found another job.
Oh, all right.
3, Councilman Marinaro?
Authorize request for proposal for liability insurance. Whereas it is the desire of the town board to seek inquiries regarding competitive rates for liability insurance, and now therefore be it resolved that it is in the best interest of the town to advertise for proposal so that there will be a wider selection and competition, and be it further resolved that the town clerk be and hereby is authorized to advertise for requests for proposals for liability insurance rates. Be it further resolved that said proposal shall be received, evaluated by the town clerk, and a summary report shall be provided to the town board.
Thank you, Councilman. I do like to always give the town clerk as much work as I can. Do I have a motion to authorize the RFP for liability insurance?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Every few years, we like to do this, so to keep all these agents on their toes, making sure we get the best price possible, so let them compete against each other.
So this is another way to save tax dollars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We did this several years ago, before we did the first change. Didn't we have a significant savings?
We did. We saved $140,000 a
I
year.
remember
Yeah.
that. Big one.
Good savings, I remember
I
that.
remember the year we did it, we got the same person to buy it, get the policy the next year, and it was a $35,000 savings.
That's why we do it. That's why we do it.
There you go.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 4, Councilman Franco?
Appointing a lead police assistant. Whereas a lead police assistant position has been created in the police department, said position will take on more duties and responsibilities as assigned by the town police chief. The town police chief has recommended an employee to fill the position, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby appoints Jessica Frederick to lead police assistant. Be it further resolved, such person will be paid pursuant to the CSEA collective bargaining agreement effective September 26, 2021.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to appoint Jessica Frederick, lead police assistant?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Discussion. Chief?
So years back in one of the contract negotiations, it was decided that the most senior individuals, police dispatchers, police assistants, would be able to earn $1 an hour salary addition to, and basically the town board is fulfilling that obligation by appointing Jessica Fredericks as our lead police assistant.
And you're happy with her?
Oh, absolutely, she's an amazing woman.
She's been doing the job too, right? For a while.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 5, Councilman Bepan?
Whereas the town of East Fishkill has determined that sampling of PFOAS has identified several wells that have exceeded MCL limits, whereas the town of East Fishkill has shut down the several wells, reducing overall water supply source capacity. The town is evaluating alternatives to replenish lost water and capacity, whereas the town circulated a publicly available RFP titled Beekman Water District Evaluation, whereas WSP USA has responded to the RFP. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby declares and authorizes Nick D'Alessandro, town supervisor, be provided with the authority to authorize a contract with WSP Inc. and well drilling companies.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to authorize Beekman Water evaluation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So this is very important. Earlier, I said a comment about social media giving false information, and this was one of them. This is very important to the town, very important to everybody that lives here. Drinking water is not a luxury. Drinking water is a right to have, clean drinking water. So New York State, at the beginning, last year, implemented a new law for testing for a chemical, PFOS, and we had several meetings, a public meeting where we invited Board of Health to explain what this is and how detrimental to somebody if they drinking these chemicals can be. So we did have a few wells of our own that were over the New York State limit. Now, whether or not you can argue about what the New York State limit is, there's no, the federal limit is 70, New York State went down to 10. Well, it's because it's a very bad chemical. So there's reasons for that. We can argue about the arbitrary number, but the fact remains the law is the number can't be over 10. We had several wells in the hamlet that were. So we mitigated it right away. We shut those wells off, and thank God for good old-fashioned planning by our planning department and our town engineer on how we should expand our water systems. We expanded our water across the street several years ago. This led to us without an instant to shut down those contaminated wells with this PFOS, and draw all the water that we need from the wells across the street, which have no nothing, a zero on the PFOS. So as we continue to grow and as we continue to want to make sure that this doesn't come up in any other wells, we are looking always to expand our water districts, expand our water sources, and one reason is to make sure that we have enough. Another reason is if we have an issue like we did, that we can mobilize quickly. And number 3 is Eventually, we like to interconnect all our systems in the town so that we can have backup ways for every single system. Now, Beekman Water is a large water district, and we are looking at, that's why we're doing this study. The study is very expensive, over $100,000, but potentially this can service many, many different water districts. Interconnect possibly, what's the one next door?
We're looking at Four Corners,
And
Little Switzerland, Hopewell North, Sagamore.
Sagamore, so possibly we could interconnect all these. Four Corners is off
Pinewood
on
as
its
well.
own. There is nowhere we can connect anywhere to that, God forbid there is an issue. So we have to plan these things. This does cost a lot of money, yes it does, but thankfully, we do have COVID dollars that did come to the town, and we are gonna utilize those dollars to do this study, so it won't cost the taxpayers, any money out of their pocket, or anybody in those water districts. So I'm very happy to report that. I'm very happy that we're doing this evaluation, because like I said, drinking water is a right, and whoever on social media doesn't think so, you need to get another education. So, with that, any other comments or questions? Now, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much for that very important resolution. Number 6, Deputy Supervisor.
Townwide Route 376 interconnection change order, whereas the town has previously authorized improvements for Revere Water Park District and Worley Homes as redundancy water source for the storage facility Fishkill Plains Brentwood Water Districts. Whereas the town of East Fishkill entered into a contract with Legacy Supply for the total amount of 1.3 and change, signed by the supervisor. Whereas the New York State DEC has identified an area of the project along Route 376 post the award that would require mitigation through wetland restoration. And whereas the town determined that the New York DEC permitting and mitigation would significantly impact the project schedule and create an unknown mitigation. And whereas the town developed a strategy that utilizes a horizontal directional drilling pipe installation technique that needs for the project, the town's sought project cost proposals for the change in project scope, multiple contractors, and provided the lowest fee of $211,626.43. And whereas the town has reviewed the cost proposal, backup cost data, and available bonded amounts, now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby declares and authorizes Nicholas D'Alessandro, the town supervisor, to send the contract.
Whew, you haven't read that much in probably years.
Couldn't you shorten that one, Tom?
Do I have a motion to approve the change order?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Engineer, could you give us a brief, very brief,
Yeah, well, our line runs within the right-of-way of the state highway there.
Right.
And, according to the original mapping, there wasn't going to be any impact, but, unfortunately, as the project got underway, it was determined through additional flagging, so to speak, that there would be a potential impact, and that necessitated the need for this directional bore, so.
it's not fun to work in DOT right away, is it?
Well, it's not the DOT right
Oh.
away, but, well, we are in the DOT right away,
Right.
but, we're right 10 feet from the edge of the road. And, there's nothing shown there, but DEC always tends to reach out and.
Understood. So it
Yeah,
costs us
so-
more. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, number 7, Councilman Marinaro?
Town of East Fishkill, Four Corners Water District Storage Tank Repairs. Whereas the town of East Fishkill has previously performed repairs to the Four Corners water tank, including concrete subfloor injections and spot-specific leakage repairs, and we believe that the repairs have minimized ongoing leakage on a short-term basis. The town of East Fishkill is seeking a solution for long-term leakage repairs and has sought service for a tank lining and/or concrete floor installation. The town circulated a publicly available bid titled Town of East Fishkill Four Corners Water District Storage Tank Repairs, due to the clerk office, September 22nd, 2021. Whereas the town received 2 responses for RFPs, and whereas the town performed an evaluation of the responses received, determining that underwater solution is recommended for the awards. And whereas the town recommends awarding tank lining alternate 1 as described in the bid, now therefore be it resolved. Then the town board hereby declares and authorizes Nicholas D'Alessandro, town supervisor, be provided with the authority to authorize a contract with Underwater Solutions.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to award the Four Corners Water District Storage Tank repairs?
To move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Well, this is a long time coming, huh?
So that area has had some issues with some of the tanks, especially this summer.
Yeah.
Restricted some water
Yeah.
distribution, so we need
The
to,
town got a lemon with that tank when we bought that water district.
It's actually like a phase 2 of the original project. We went in a couple years ago and,
With the diver?
with the diver, and we drained the tank, we went in, there was some cracking in the floor and some, that when the concrete was poured originally, it wasn't really consolidated before we bought the system, so we went in and did an injection grouting in the concrete. We drilled, I think, 500 holes and did all this injection grouting, which worked for a while. We didn't proceed with the liner at that point because, first of all, we didn't have it in the budget, and second of all, the tank would have had to been out of service for too long a period of time. We have a very short period of time, we can take the tank out of service. So we did that initial repair. It held up for a while, but we always knew that we'd have to come back for a liner. And that's where we are today to try to finish this, so.
All right.
Would dollars from the American Rescue Plan help with this at all in the district?
We did have some money,
Yeah,
set aside.
remember, we did divvy up the dollars for every district, so.
and Mark, so some of the money that we collect from the fees, the water rates, is already saved for some of these emergency situations?
Yeah, we do have a surplus built up to help offset some of these costs.
But in the case of Four Corners, we have a few things coming up. We have this tank repair, we have a new well 5 that we drilled, that we're trying to get online. We have a well 1A that we recently rehabbed, or rehabbed last year, that we're trying to get that online. We have to potentially put a new filter system in, so there are some expenses coming along for Four Corners.
Great. Thank
That's
you.
a fairly new system, not that old at all.
No?
15 to 20 years old, yeah.
20 years? Yeah. All right, I have a motion and a second. Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a question about Four Corners. I'm actually on the board there. I was just curious, is there any type of date, projected date for completion with the well?
Oh, right now, we're in Board of Health. That's why I went up to Board of Health this week. That was one of our issues, so.
So with the 2 wells specifically, well 1A, which is one of the original wells that has collapsed, and we, how did I say, rehabbed the well, actually went deeper with it, put a sleeve in. We did our Part 5 sampling and met all that criteria, but there was a color issue. It had a little tint to it, and even though it wasn't harmful to the health, it's still, the health department won't let us turn that well on. So what we're doing is we're continuing to flush it. And the measurement is continuing to go down, so we're hopeful at some point we can get it down to a level that we can blend and actually use that well. But it's a process. I can't tell you exactly at what date that the level's gonna come down, but it is trending downward.
So,
Well 5 is a new well that we drilled, and we had a turbidity issue with that. And believe it or not, the hydrogeologist thought we should punt on that well and try another location, but very limited on locations that we can drill, that we have our infrastructure close to, that it wouldn't cost an arm and a leg to actually connect it to. So we stayed with it. We ran temporary electric in. We've been flushing now, I think, for 3 months, and we are seeing that turbidity start to go down. But at what point is it satisfactory to the health department? It could be 2 months, it could be a year, but, Four Corners is an island unto itself. We don't have a lot of options, so we really need to just be patient and stick with these and hope that at least one of these 2 locations gets approved by the health department.
so the decreased water usage, we're expecting for that to be for a while, to keep going on, or?
Well, it's the irrigation. It's the irrigation. Irrigation.
Tremendous amount of water.
Tremendous
Was it
water.
600,000 gallons or something?
No, you go from, on an average, of 30,000 gallon for drinking water to some days it approaches 300,000 for irrigation, and it's just too much of a burden on the system without this other well online.
And this community is utilizing more water than the others in the area, or is it about equal?
Well, there's only two systems that I think have
Well, I mean,
irrigation to
it's-
that
it-
extent,
yeah.
Hopewell Glen and Four Corners. Hopewell Glen's connected to the county.
Okay.
So they got an endless supply of
And,
water.
you know, they're pulling from the Hudson River over there. Four Corners is just pulling from the ground, so.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just ask, I mean, can't you turn off the irrigation if people need drinking water?
Well, we have a restriction in place.
It's home by home. We don't have control over the.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, we have our additions. First one, Councilman Franco?
Sure, resolution changing the name of Auditorium Drive to Patriot Way. The town has obtained Auditorium Drive from Blue Water Property Group as a new road, whereas due to the acquisition, we are requesting to change the name of Auditorium Drive to Patriot Way, whereas 911 addressing has been notified of the name change and has not indicated any conflicts within the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of East Fishkill hereby requests that the Auditorium Drive is now changed to Patriot Way, and all necessary departments and agencies will be notified of such change.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to change the name of Auditorium Drive to Patriot Way?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So, this is part of our traffic mitigation plan on Route 52. As everybody knows, the Amazon project is being built, and in coordination with that, we have implemented a large traffic mitigation plan, which will include Auditorium Drive becoming a town road, and also a roundabout at that junction on 52 and Auditorium Drive, and implement a school drop-off right off of Auditorium Drive or the new Patriot Way. So, which, by the way, Amazon will be paying for most of the cost of all of that. Auditorium Drive was a private road, is gonna become a town road. The county had to right away have a name, so we thought it was apropos, since it's next to John Jay, home of the Patriots, we named it Patriot Way. Yes?
Where is Auditorium?
It's right next to the school. And that road will be a bypass road from 52 to Lime Kiln Road by the 84 entrance.
Thank you.
Yep. Any comments or questions?
The school district is very
Can't
excited.
name it Cassidy Avenue, no.
The school district is excited.
Yeah, they're very happy, yep,
Yeah.
they're very happy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number two, Councilman Bepan?
Whereas the town board has previously commenced on condemnation action above referenced structure, and that's for 16 Fishkill Hook Road. Whereas the town engineer has advised that the homeowner has previously appealed to the town board to postpone the execution of the order, whereas the house still remains in deteriorated state and should be demolished. Be it further resolved that the town board will conduct a hearing regarding the above-named structure on November 4th, 2021.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to authorize the hearing for 16 Fishkill Hook Road?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So this came up last year, if you remember. It's an unsafe building. The engineer went out there, deemed it unsafe structure. We had a hearing. We had the owner come in. He wasn't happy. He was in the process of either demolishing it or selling it to somebody who was going to renovate it or something like that. I don't remember. We gave him an extension, and the extension came and gone. He hasn't done it, so now we're gonna bring him in again. If he doesn't do it, we're gonna have to take the building down. That's it in a nutshell. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number three, Deputy Supervisor.
Whereas the town supervisor's budget must be filed with the town clerk within the time period prescribed by law. Whereas it is necessary that the town clerk present said budget to the town board at a public meeting prior to the 5th day of October. Whereas it is desired the supervisor and the town clerk to have the town board receive the tentative budget at this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board will conduct a public hearing on November 4th, 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to receive and file the budget?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, the town budget, we've been working on several months now. The town comptroller, thank you very much. been doing a lot of work with myself on completing this, and the process is now, I submit my budget to the town board, which becomes the tentative budget. We will have a public meeting with the town board to discuss the budget on October 5th, and then on November 4th, we will have the public hearing with the public to come and make any comments they wish. This will be posted on our website, correct? Right? Posted on our website, the budget's on our website. You want to go look at it. If you need any questions or need answers to them, please call my office. I'd be glad to sit with you or discuss with you any line items that you see. And that's about it.
It's October 14th.
Oh, I'm sorry, October 14th. Let's make that change on the resolution. October 14th instead of 5th. And I'm happy to say we are right at or under, I think, right at 1% increase. So it's been a tough year with COVID. It's a good budget, very strong budget. I'm very happy we increased, which everybody will see, we increased paving. We increased a lot of good things for the town, so I'm happy about it. I have a motion and a second. Do I have, all in favor say aye with the change of the 14th, from the 5th to the 14th?
Well, the 5th, that's just when it's due from the clerk to
Oh.
the town board. That's not a meeting
No,
date.
the budget discussion is going to be October 14th. The corrected date is on the next resolution.
The wrong date is on the,
Forgot the one.
The resolution date is correct. The budget has to be there by the 5th, but your discussion is October 14th.
oh, I'm sorry.
Forgot the one.
I'm sorry. So the 5th. Okay, so we could leave it the same. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, number 4, Councilman Marinaro?
Amend the dates for the balance of the town board meetings for 2021. Whereas the town board has determined to review and schedule meetings in 2021. And whereas it is the desire of the town board to have a regularly scheduled meeting, now therefore be it resolved that the town board shall conduct a monthly workshop and regular meeting per the following schedule. October 14, workshop budget discussion. October 28 will be a regular meeting. November 4th, regular meeting, budget hearing. December 9th, regular meeting. Be it further resolved that the said meeting shall be held at the town hall. It shall commence at 7 p.m. unless otherwise indicated.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to amend the dates for the rest of the year?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 5, Councilman Franco?
Appointing a temporary typist. Whereas the town has identified the need for an additional temporary typist to assist in the clerical functions necessary to operate town departments. Whereas Human Resources has interviewed viable candidates and recommends Lisa Ingraham to the town board. Now therefore be it resolved that Lisa Ingraham is hereby appointed as temporary typist effective September 24th, 2021, to be paid at an hourly rate of $15.38. Be it further resolved that such person shall work at the pleasure of the town supervisor in accordance with all the previously established rules and regulations. Be it further resolved that such person will be removed from the payroll upon completion of their tasks.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to appoint the temporary typist?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? So we need people to come work, please. If you're home and you want a little extra money, you want to work, please come. Our applications are online on our website. Call my office, please. We need people, okay? It's been tough to find people. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. If you guys didn't pass that, I don't know what we're gonna do. Last resolution, Councilman Beepan.
Town of East Fishkill 2021 WIA grant application. Whereas the Town of East Fishkill has previously defined a set town-wide water improvement that includes water district interconnections, water distribution pipe replacement, establishment of a new water source for Revere Park, Worley Homes Water District, the use of the system water storage provided by the Hopele Hamlet Water District, and the redundancy of water supply and Fishkill, and storage for the Fishkill Plains and Brettview Water Districts. Whereas the town is seeking nearly $3 million through the WIA grant opportunity, whereas the town of East Fishkill previously identified a project budget of approximately $5 million and will benefit from the WIA grant, lowering the cost obligation for the water districts. Whereas the town previously passed a resolution for project bonding, whereas the town previously circulated for lead agency and previously declared lead agency, whereas the WIA grant requires compliance with all state and federal grant requirements, now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby declares and authorizes Supervisor D'Alessandro the authority to sign the WIA grant application.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion for us to apply for the WIA grant?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? So this is a long time coming. Residents of Worley Homes, Hopewell West Water District will be very happy. We've been trying to apply for this grant for a while. It finally came up in circulation. We have been preparing for it, and actually that was why we went up to Board of Health too, one of the reasons this past week with the engineers and the attorney to discuss that, and we're hoping to get it. We have a very good chance to get it. Those other districts that are going to be interconnected have a lot of issues, Brettview and Brettview 2, Fishkill Plains. So,
But it's primarily
yeah, but this is mainly for that, but it's all gonna help one another, so, we passed a resolution last month authorizing us to borrow the money, but if we don't get the grant, we are not going to borrow the money. It's only based upon the grant. So I just wanna make sure that the people of Worley Homes know that. They might get nervous. Last time I had some calls after we passed a resolution. Don't worry, if we don't get the grant, we're not borrowing the money because the people in that district then have to pay that back. So that's why they're worried. And thank you to the engineer and his staff for a lot of work on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. That does it for that. No budget transfers, comments. Start with the highway superintendent.
Okay, I'll keep it somewhat short since it's been a little bit of a long night. The supervisor has already spoken about the bridge from Hurricane Ida. We did have a lot of damage, not just with the bridge, and I would like to thank all the board members, the town engineer, town supervisor. Everyone had reached out to me that night. Nick and I had been on the phone many times throughout the night, all hours of the night, the next day, on what we can do, what we can help. Also, the East Fishkill Police Department, East Fishkill Fire Department, all of my crew, recreation, beautification, everybody worked together that night to try to get out and protect and cone off and caution off wherever we had washouts. So most of the washouts and the damage has been corrected. We've also continued on with drainage work in Four Corners, Worley Homes, Dogwood Knolls. We are also working on a list of 3 more roads, 3 more good-sized roads to pave. Councilman Marinaro and I were out this week looking at the 3 that we're talking about. Councilman Franco has also joined in on this. So we are slated to do 3 more. We've also continued with the Recreation Department and the East Fishkill Baseball with our batting cages that we are putting together. And we'll be out there. We're gonna be out pothole filling some more before the season ends, and that's pretty much it for us.
Yeah, fill those potholes,
This
huh?
month has been a bit crazy at Highway.
Fill those potholes,
We
would you?
will, we definitely will.
All right, thank you, Highway
No
Superintendent.
problem. Thank you, guys, everybody.
And yeah, that night was really crazy.
It was a
the
crazy
storm.
night. It really was.
But
I know you and I were on the phone like, I don't know how many times.
Like
Well,
at 2:30.
2:30, 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I was sleep, and so the phone was, the county executive was calling because he had to talk to all of us, and I was sleeping, and I didn't hear my phone even. The police department calls the house saying, you gotta get on the phone.
It was
County
a
executive.
crazy night, for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all, everyone, even police department, fire department, I cannot say enough.
Police chief, how are you?
I am well, sir, and how are you?
Excellent.
So you embarrassed me on the flooding. Every time I would get to a scene, you and Kenny were leaving. You were already done on your second cup of coffee. So I was like 2 steps behind you for like 48 hours straight. With regards to the board helping out on so many issues, that tragic, and of course the highway department, the fire department. I just want to mention, and they were fantastic.
Unbelievable.
They
yeah.
pulled out boats.
Absolutely.
They were cruising through the neighborhoods on boats. They put up drones, making sure no one was in distress in these areas. On September 10th, they did a beautiful ceremony in the evening, talked about all the things they did for the New York City Fire Department. They didn't go down and help on the pile. What they did is they went to the firehouses that were vacant day after day after day, and they cleaned equipment and put equipment back in service, took care of the firehouses for these guys who would work 24, 48 hours straight and come back to the firehouse and basically collapse, but everything was taken care of. And as soon as the ceremony was over, there was a major fire, and everyone raced over to the Trump Golf Course, and they were out there all night doing their thing. Just, they are an amazing bunch of volunteers, and I think the best part of the month was just watching them help everybody out. So with that, we've had almost 2,000 calls for service since our last meeting with 17 arrests, and we closed out 2 burglaries with arrests. We had 6 different vehicle and traffic law arrests for DWI, et cetera. We did 2 warrant enforcements, a couple larceny cases we closed out with arrests. We had 7 different charges for violating orders of protection, 2 charges of criminal mischief. We took an illegal shotgun off the streets, attempted assault arrest, 2 individuals for burglary in the secondary, so they broke into private homes. Both individuals were arrested, not related at all, so 2 separate incidents, 2 separate arrests. 2 police officers are in the academy. They're doing well. It was it was nice to go back to the police academy and see what a great job the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office are doing with our 2 newest employees. Our new police assistant, part-time police assistant, has progressed forward with her training extremely well. And our 2022 budget proposal has been submitted to the Comptroller's office. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to.
It's in here, Chief, it's in here.
Thank you. Good, step forward. Again, ahead of me. And that's what I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thanks for all the help and assistance as always. Make sure some of those young guys smile a little bit more, you know? They're very stern and strict on Community Day, you know? Smile a little.
Smile training coming up, sir.
All right, thank you, Chief. Councilman Beepan.
As always, thank you to our police department, highway department, fire department, EMS for everything that they do for our town. A special shout out, as the chief said, to our fire department. I get a text message every single time they get dispatched to a call, and I can't even count how many pump outs they did for residents. So people who had basements flooded, first floors flooded, they were there pumping out houses for days after the storm, and they didn't stop until the call stopped. So thank you so much to them. Also, a shout out to our recreation department, Deputy Supervisor Cassidy and Manny for everything that they did for the East Fishkill Community Day. Thought it was a great success. Everyone worked very well together. Kenny, your guys were, Butch and his team, they're amazing as always. So
Good team effort.
thank you for everything you did. I thought the turnout was great for our first major event back since COVID, and thank you to all the vendors for coming out as well as the residents because they definitely made it special. Just a quick announcement, our annual Halloween costume party and parade will be on October 31st at 3 p.m. and it'll be at Mill Creek Caterers, again, like where it usually is. We also have a couple of different things going on. We have registration open for basketball and winter volleyball, so definitely check that out on our recreation website. Other than that, just a huge shout out to the town supervisor, county executive, the New York State DOT, and all the work that you guys did to get that bridge up and running, because I've spoken to other council members and supervisors, and they still have roads closed, and we somehow got a bridge in 10 days, so, thank you.
We were a real pain in the ass, that's why.
They did a great job, though. They did.
Yeah,
You and
they
I have
did,
visited-
they
You
did.
and I visited it many times down there.
Yeah, yeah, and thanks to the engineer too. He did
Absolutely.
a lot of needling.
Like I said, every one of you has reached out through that night and the next day.
Yep. Councilman Franco.
Okay, I'm
how
gonna
are
try,
you?
I'm great, how are you?
Okay.
Here we go, I'm gonna try to be as brief as I can.
All
Okay, I
right.
wanna start, of course, by thanking our highway superintendent and our chief. Supervisor and I were walking around over the weekend, and we ran into some road issues as well as some speeding issues with some of the constituents. We gave you guys a call, boom, right away, you guys take care of it. We greatly appreciate that. We received 3 requests for proposals for the new Veterans Park that we're proposing, and we're very excited about that. We're gonna be reviewing that probably next week. I know our Veterans Committee is eager to get started on that project. For those who've watched our last meeting, I don't know if you guys remember, but we had John Jay High School came here, some of the teachers, and they are being presented having a pilot program, not the pilot that we've been talking about, but an initial program from the state where they want to get kids more civically involved and have a civics designation on their diploma. So they came and presented that to us, and then privately, they reached out to us and said if we can come up with some sort of idea that they can take part in. Well, myself and our chief, we were banging our heads together thinking of something that we can do, and we came up with a thing that's called East Fishkill Hometown Connections. Now, this is just a beginning phase, so we're a long way away from it. And what that is we're gonna utilize our police dispatchers to periodically call and check in on some of our seniors and some of our most vulnerable in town. And we have the school kids that are gonna be involved in this. They're gonna help us gather some of this information, as well as reaching out on social media and other avenues. And we figured, they like the idea, but we figure, of course, if we're in East Fishkill, we're gonna go big or go home, right, Chief?
Yes,
We're gonna-
sir.
We're gonna keep going. So there's other things that the kids will be able to do. Like, for instance, I know the chief says he gets phone calls, simple things like changing a light bulb, elderly person isn't gonna go step on a step ladder. Or charging a phone, correct? That you guys,
Well, when the power went out, right, we charged a few phones for a few of our residents
Right.
at the station, because we have the generator.
so we're looking at, some of the kids can do small menial projects, shovel snow, take care of things like that, help with groceries, for community service hours. Then the bigger projects, we're gonna look towards, some of our churches and some of our other local charities and perhaps some in-kind contributions, maybe cleaning up basements and stuff like that. So it's another way of getting the kids involved, the high schoolers, have a better, social network fabric within the community and build a greater, closer community and taking a look and taking care of our seniors and those who are most vulnerable in town. And whatever we can do to help. Because everybody loves our police department, right, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Everyone.
Everyone?
They do.
Thanks, Councilman.
Well, more to report on that in the coming weeks.
It's good to be more civically minded. Yeah. And that's government civics, not Honda Civic. Yeah.
You're on a roll tonight.
Yeah. Councilman Marinaro?
More of a wedge.
So again, a big thanks, like everybody else previously mentioned, to the highway department, the fire department, and the police department during our last storm that we had in the community. Everybody responded in a speedy fashion, and the town supervisor and town board and the county executive for addressing the issue of a bridge that was washed away on Eastwood Road. Great effort. A few days ago, there was a temporary bridge reinstalled, and talking to the town engineer, this bridge is very sturdy, and the community should be very thankful for the efforts that everybody made. During the storm, the highway department was involved in opening roads and clearing trees, so they were taken away from their paving duties. We are going back to that. This week, the highway superintendent, myself, and paving company. We met at Dogwood Knolls. We drove around the neighborhood, and we decided that there is going to be some paving done in that community. I believe the town superintendent of highway said that last time was what, over 20 years ago?
Over 20 years.
Yeah. So some of those roads are in bad shape. There is a lot of water that comes down from the high end of the community and washes and erodes a lot of roads. So that's going to be happening before the winter comes to a close. There was another issue, again, talking about Facebook media. We spoke about this many times. Like the town supervisor mentioned before, we have a plan to pave Creamery Road. Creamery Road should have been paved if the conditions of the water system was not an issue at this time. People still make insinuation, why don't you pave? It's not just us. We want to make sure that the valves are taken care of by the company that did that project. We don't want to pave and then go back maybe in a couple of weeks, couple of months, and reopen that road, because that's not the way we want to do things in this community. So Creamery and all the near roads over there will be paved, and at this point, it's up to the dilemma and the debate that is going on with the water company, the EPA. So as soon as that is resolved, we will go back and take care of that stretch of road. It is in bad shape, and I've asked the highway superintendent to right now temporarily address the pothole situation in that area. We'll fix it the best way we can, but that is the plan right now. This week, like the town supervisor mentioned, after a long year with COVID, we met with the Economic Development Committee. It was a great meeting. There was a great exchange of information, and this is an ongoing process. It's very beneficial to the community. We talk about bringing small and big company to the town of East Fishkill where appropriate. We're not just going, let's do business and forget about the rest of the community. We are very conscious of the way the town is, and we want to keep East Fishkill just the way it is, a rural community, but at the same time, we do need the taxation revenue to address the needs of the community. Let's not forget, like we mentioned many times, that if these companies prosper in our community, they will bring tax revenue, and that is the only way that we cannot tax the rest of the community, the private, especially our seniors. I say this all the time, people move out because they can no longer afford to live in our town. That is very sad. And I've said it for years that that's one of my goals, to make sure that everybody still, who has lived in this community for years and years, still is able to enjoy this beautiful town. There is another piece of news that I wanna put out. We have a tentative date, October 9th, to do a ribbon cutting ceremony for the Elsa Lake water project over there. This week we visited with the town supervisor. The lake looks amazing. We have done a couple of treatments.
Yep, that's the
October
flyer.
9th, right?
Yep.
We've done a couple of treatments. People are really happy with the way the lakes look. And so we want to meet with the community and just say hi and.
10 a.m.
Yeah, we'll put it on the marquee, but it's October 9th, 10 a.m. That is basically all I have.
Thank you, Councilman.
Did you say 10 a.m.?
Yes, we're gonna post it out, we'll be on social
marquees.
media, 10 a.m. We'll provide some coffee and donuts, but not for you, Keith.
You'll bring the better drinks, right?
And you're right, Councilman, thank you for making those points. the only way to mitigate taxes is to increase the size of the pie. Let's face it, everybody's costs go up, just like your home, the town is the same thing. We pay for fuel, we pay for insurance, we pay for everything, your costs go up, so do ours. How do we get most of our dollars? Are from the taxpayers, unfortunately. So how are we supposed to mitigate that? We gotta bring new companies here to pay taxes. So, unless you can incentivize them to come here, New York's not a very desirable place to come.
Number
That's-
48 out of 50.
That's why we try to work with these different agencies, Dutchess County and whatnot, because we gotta be creative to get these jobs here and to get them to pay more taxes. So, trust me, I would love them to pay top dollar, pay the full freight, but they're not gonna come. They're gonna find other locations.
Other
So-
people's top dollar is much less than ours.
That's correct, that's correct. So thank you, Councilman, for making those
And
comments.
one other comment I want to make, I mean, this town board, so the community, I said this before, and I can't stop saying it more over and over again. This town board is really very responsive to the needs of the community. I mean, we see it all the time. When we have an issue, we don't just say somebody else is going to take care of that. We get going and we take care of the problem. Anytime our phone rings, we're there behind somebody's door, we take care. I mean, people call and I get in touch with the right department. So there were some issues in the community, and I got in touch Saturday with one of highway supervisors. Monday, I drove by there and the problem was taken care of. It's amazing the way we all work at a speedy rate. And that's a plus for the community. It's hard to see a town board that is working so efficiently like the people in the town of East Fishkill.
Thank you, Councilman. Deputy Supervisor.
I think you guys all said enough. I'd like to thank the highway department, but they already got thanked. Chief, you got something tonight, he didn't.
He's been thanked. She's been thanked, too.
Everybody's been thanked.
Yeah.
Somebody that hasn't been thanked, I'm just basically gonna go on Community Day.
What'd I get?
It starts early in the morning. It starts with the fire police out there who never seem to get thanked for running the traffic because we won't let the chief bring any of his cops into direct traffic. Too much overtime, Nick said.
They were there.
There wasn't as many as there used to be. Two other organizations that big time helpers, Royal Karting and Hopele Hot Bagels. I'd like to give a personal thank you to John Didio because it only took him because it only took him 25 years to finally bring me out a nice warm chocolate chip cookie before the event. He only brought me 5.
He ate all 5.
Community Day was great. Only one bad thing. Some guy stabbed me in the back and gave me an award. I don't do it for awards. But 25 years, we've had a lot of fun there, and it's never rained on Community Day.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
We had a good time, for sure.
It did rain like heck one year before, the day before. But started it years ago with a good friend, Ethel Walker, Don Minichino, and a few other guys. Bill Green was there. Like I said, he was a lot younger then. But it's come a long way in 25 years, and it's all about this town. That's all I really care about. This town, I love it. I moved here in 1986. Don't regret it a bit. And if you need something done in this town, when we need something done, we call Kenny, we call Chris, we take the credit for it, but they get it done for us.
Yep, all the time.
And there's only one guy that's old, and that was Tom, the town attorney, I heard tonight.
That's twice.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. And you're a good man. The people who deserve the awards are the ones who never won them like you, so it's well-deserved. My only comments are that the East Fishkill brush drop-off will begin October 6th and October 30th. The location is 218 Hillside Lake Road, and the vehicle size are a car or a small trailer to a 6-wheel truck for free. No commercial vehicles. The hours and everything will be posted online, but just make sure nothing bigger than 12-inch diameter, please. October 6th to the 30th. And we will post it online on our social media, website, everywhere.
That's
And-
Bobby's house.
Oh, it's at Bob's house,
doing?
yeah.
Turning
Just throw
that
your
into
stuff
a
out the
recycle?
window on Bobby's yard.
Could you imagine?
The next town board meeting is our workshop, October 14th, 2021. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, thank God.